Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast.
This week, we are discussing Chapter 149, Rumble.
And let me just say, if you thought Zoan-type Devil Fruits were simple, if you thought they were just 3 little transformations, Oda just blew that whole concept wide open.
A doctor who experiments on himself, a drug that rewrites the very rules of a devil fruit. We thought we were getting a simple fight.
Simple? We got a 7-course meal of reindeer justice. Look, if you want to hear the instant we break down every new rule-breaking power-up, and trust me, there will be more, then make sure you're subscribed. It's the best way to keep from getting left behind when this crew inevitably leaves the whole world in their dust.
A fitting metaphor. The chapter begins right where we left off. Chopper, standing before Chessmarimo, resolute.
He's not backing down. That pirate flag, Hiriluk's flag, is everything to him. It's the symbol of his entire belief system, and these 2 jokers are just treating it like a piece of cloth. It's not just a flag, it's a will. It's an inheritance, just like the name of our show.
Chessmarimo mocks him, saying a pirate flag is just a symbol of terror. He doesn't understand the nuance, the idea of a flag representing a belief. For him, a symbol can only have one meaning, the most brutal and direct one.
It's such a small-minded thug mentality. He sees a skull and crossbones and thinks fear. He doesn't have the imagination to see anything else. But Luffy saw adventure. Hiriluk saw the cure for a nation's sick heart. That's the difference between a villain and a hero right there. It's about what you see in the symbol.
A flag is a story you fly for everyone to see. Hiriluk's story was one of impossible conviction. He believed he could make cherry blossoms bloom in a land of eternal snow. That flag is a physical manifestation of that impossible dream.
And Chopper is its sole defender. He's willing to die for that promise. That's Straw Hat material right there. He's not even on the crew and he's got the spirit. He understands sacrifice. He understands conviction. Luffy must be watching this and just seeing a kindred spirit, even if he can't put words to it.
He pulls something out. A small, yellow, ball-shaped candy.
The Rumble Ball. My man brought his own performance enhancers to the party. I love it. And of course, I love Luffy's reaction in the background. He just sees a piece of candy and is immediately interested. Is it yummy? Never change, Luffy. The fate of a kingdom is hanging in the balance. A new form of combat is about to be unveiled, and our captain is wondering about the flavor profile.
It's a moment of levity, but it's also perfectly in character. Luffy's world is very simple. He sees food, he sees a friend, he sees a fight. The complex science about to be demonstrated is likely going right over his head. All he'll see is the spectacular result.
And what a result it is! Chopper pops it in his mouth.
Chopper explains it. It's a drug he developed that enhances his devil fruit powers, but only for 3 minutes.
Okay, can we just pause right here? This is a massive development. We've seen people train their devil fruits. We've seen them get creative. Crocodile drying out the ground. Luffy using his rubber body to pump his blood faster. That's all working within the established rules. This is different. We have never seen someone use science to fundamentally alter how their fruit works.
It's alchemy. He's treating the devil fruit not as a mystical curse or a blessing, but as a biological system that can be manipulated. He's applying the scientific method to the supernatural. It's an incredible leap in understanding.
He's a biohacker. He's overclocking his own DNA. He looked at the source code of his Hito Hito no Mi and decided to write a few new lines of his own. That's a level of genius that is just staggering. This isn't just a power-up, it's a paradigm shift.
He's a doctor first, a fighter second. His solution to a combat problem wasn't to punch harder, it was to invent a new form of medicine. This single act tells us everything we need to know about his character and the unique role he will fill. He will solve problems with his mind.
It's applied knowledge. He's using his brain to boost his brawn. That's our doctor. He's not just going to heal the crew from their injuries. He's going to upgrade himself from the cells up. It's the ultimate form of self-improvement.
But there's a dark side to this, isn't there? A self-developed experimental drug that he's taking in the middle of a fight. He has no idea what the long-term consequences are. What is the cost of rewriting your own biological and devil fruit functions? He's a doctor playing patient, a researcher using himself as the sole test subject. It's incredibly dangerous.
He's betting it all on these 3 minutes. It's a desperate gambit born from a desire to protect what he loves. And Chessmarimo is just laughing at him. He sees Chopper transform into his walk point, his normal reindeer form.
Then Heavy Point, his big, muscular, humanoid form, the form that looks like a Sasquatch. That's the one we've seen him use to fight.
And finally, Brain Point, the small hybrid form we know him best in, the cute little mascot form. And Chessmarimo is just watching this slideshow, completely unimpressed. He's literally yawning.
In his mind, he's just seen the full repertoire, a strong one, a fast one, and a small one. To him, this is the limit of a Zoan fruit. He thinks he understands the rules of the game he's playing. It's a classic villain's mistake, arrogance born from incomplete information.
And that right there is his big mistake. He thinks he knows the rules, but Chopper just invented a whole new game. Chessmarimo is playing checkers, and my boy just busted out the 3D chessboard.
Chessmarimo attacks, a flurry of punches, and Chopper just vanishes.
He leaps so high he basically touches the ceiling of the castle room they're in. The panel is amazing. He's just a blur of motion going straight up. This isn't one of the 3 forms we just saw. This is new. The legs are totally different.
Chopper calls it jumping point. His legs are long and powerful, like a springbok or a gazelle. He's built for pure evasion and repositioning. It's a form designed not for combat, but for maneuverability. The tactical implications are immediate.
Chessmarimo is stunned. He asks what's going on, and Chopper explains it. The rumble ball doesn't just power him up, it disturbs the wavelengths of his transformations. That sounds so cool and scientific.
It's a fascinating phrase, wavelengths, as if the devil fruit's power operates on a specific frequency, and the rumble ball introduces new harmonics, allowing for variations that shouldn't exist. It suggests a physics to the supernatural that no one has even considered before.
It gives him access to 4 more points, on top of the 3 he has naturally.
For a grand total of 7 transformations. This is it. This is the moment, the central thesis of the chapter.
It's not just a power-up, it's a complete redefinition of what a Zoan user can be. Super! Before this, Zoans were the bruisers. Simple, strong, 3 modes. Now they have the potential for more variety than a Logia or a Paramecia. The game has completely changed.
Okay, but think about what this means, Franky. A Zoan fruit has 3 forms: human, animal, and hybrid. That seems to be the law of nature for these fruits. Chopper has created 4 more artificial transformations. He is forcing his body into shapes it was never meant to take.
He's a scientific pioneer. He found the Zoan formula and added his own variables. He's like the shipwright who looks at a blueprint and says, I can make this better.
He did, but what parts of himself is he twisting to achieve this? We see the new forms, and they are specialized to an extreme degree. Guard point, where his fur becomes an impenetrable shield. His whole body becomes a defensive ball of fluff. It's adorable, but it's also a complete restructuring of his epidermis.
Then there's arm point, where his arms become incredibly muscular for powerful punches, while the rest of his body seems to remain relatively normal-sized. The anatomical stress of channeling that much muscularity into 2 limbs must be immense. But the power, you can see it. The hooves become these defined, powerful fists. The forearms are like pistons. It's pure, focused, offensive power. He's not just getting stronger all over, he's redirecting his biological resources to where they're needed most. That's efficiency. That's brilliant design.
And he even mentions a horn point, which we don't get to see yet, but we can guess what that involves. The specialization continues, a form for every function.
It's the ultimate utility belt of transformations. Need to dodge? Jumping point. Need to defend? Guard point. Need to attack? Arm point. Need to think? Brain point. He has a tool for every possible situation. He's a one-man army, a one-reindeer wrecking crew.
He has turned his body into a living weapon system, all thanks to his medical knowledge. It's terrifyingly effective. He has subverted the very nature of his own power to become a more perfect combatant. There's a touch of madness to that level of genius.
And Chessmarimo is completely unprepared for it. He was ready for a fighter with 3 moves. He's now facing a fighter with 7. The fight is already over. He just doesn't know it yet. He's a bug about to be examined under a microscope before being squashed.
An apt analogy. Chopper shifts back to Brainpoint, his most intelligent form, and he does something remarkable, something that I think is even more impressive than the physical transformations.
He holds up his little hooves, puts one to his chin, and just scans him. He's analyzing his opponent mid-combat. The panel focuses on his eyes. There's no fear, no anger, just pure, cold, clinical observation.
He says scope, and in that moment, he finds it. A weakness. He's not just using his eyes. He's using his enhanced intellect, his deep understanding of anatomy and physiology to perform a full diagnostic workup on his enemy. He is literally diagnosing his opponent's weakness.
This is the perfect fusion of his 2 callings, the doctor and the warrior, all in one move. He's not just looking for a place to hit. He's not just aiming for the head or the chest. He's looking for the precise anatomical flaw, the structural vulnerability that will end the fight with a single efficient blow. It's beautiful. It's art.
He zeroes in on Chessmarimo's chin. I have to wonder if it's not properly fused. Maybe a remnant of when Chess and Marimo were 2 separate people, combined by Wapple's Baku Baku no Mi power.
That would be such a cool detail if that's the case. It would show that Wapple's power, this ability to consume and merge things, isn't perfect. It's a crude fusion. Their combined form is powerful, but it's imperfect. It has a seam. And Dr. Chopper, the master of anatomy, is just the man to exploit it.
A true craftsman always knows where the seams are. Chopper found it in an instant. This implies that Wapple himself might have similar vulnerabilities. His power is versatile, but perhaps not structurally sound.
And once the diagnosis is complete, the treatment begins. He immediately shifts. We see him bulk up into arm point, his hooves preparing for a strike. The power just radiates off him.
And then he unleashes it. We see a close-up on the hoof, then the impact. A perfect, powerful kick right to the chin. The sound effect in the manga, the visual of the impact, it's brutal.
The sound it must have made. A solid crack. Not just a punch, but the sound of something breaking. It was a surgical strike. Precision-guided reindeer fury.
He calls the attack Cookte Roseo. It's a beautiful name for a devastatingly precise attack. I think Cookte means hoof, and I've read that Roseo might come from the Italian word for rose garden, a garden of hoof prints. There's a poetry to it that elevates it beyond a simple punch.
Chessmarimo goes down. 1 hit. After all that mocking, all that arrogance about knowing Chopper's limits, he gets taken out by 1 perfectly placed kick. That's what you get for underestimating the doctor.
Because Chopper doesn't just have 1 limit, he has 7, and one of them is being a genius. He didn't win with brute force alone. He won with his intellect. He outthought his opponent completely.
It's such a satisfying victory. It was about intelligence, preparation, and the will to defend something precious. This little reindeer is a true monster of science.
A monster in the best sense of the word. Someone whose abilities defy normal explanation. He's earned Dr. Kureha's praise, even if she'd never admit it to his face.
Meanwhile, what's our captain doing during this incredible display of tactical combat and devil fruit mastery?
He's got stars in his eyes, completely mesmerized by the 7 transformation reindeer.
He's just shouting 7-stage transforming funny reindeer over and over again. He's already trying to recruit him. He's not thinking about the fight. He's not thinking about Wapple. He's just thinking, I want that on my ship. He is so easily distracted by cool things, and I get it, but also, Luffy, my man, there's a villain right next to you.
And of course, Wapple uses this moment. While everyone, including the readers to some extent, is focused on Chopper's victory, he just disappears.
Gone. He chewed his way out through a wall or something. The panel shows a Wapol-shaped hole in the stone wall. That baku fruit is weirdly versatile. But still, Luffy completely dropped the ball. He was so caught up in the hype of his potential new crewmate that he let the main bad guy get away.
It's a classic Luffy moment. His pure-hearted enthusiasm is his greatest strength, but it's also a significant tactical weakness. He lives entirely in the present moment, for better or for worse. The awe he feels for Chopper is genuine, and in that moment, it eclipses everything else in his mind.
The present was awesome, to be fair. I was right there with Luffy hootin' and hollerin', but now Wapol is loose in the castle again. This isn't over. Chopper won his battle, he defended the flag, but the war for Drum Kingdom is still on.
That's where the chapter leaves us, with a victory, but also a new problem, a lurking threat that our captain was, in his own innocent way, responsible for.
This was a Chopper chapter through and through, a perfect introduction to what he brings to the table. He's not just a doctor who can fight, he's a doctor because he can fight in this way. His skills are one and the same. His knowledge of medicine and biology is the source of his strength.
It also raises the question of what other Zoan users could be capable of. Is this something unique to Chopper's genius and his specific human fruit, which grants him the intellect to even conceive of this? Or is there a science to devil fruits that the world government might be studying?
Whoa, okay, now you're getting into the heavy stuff, like Vegapunk, the guy who figured out how to put devil fruits into objects. You're telling me he couldn't create rumble balls? Could he make an army of 7-stage Zoan warriors? Imagine a guy like Rob Lucci, who has already mastered his fruit to an insane degree, getting his hands on something like this.
It's possible. Chopper achieved this through independent research on a remote winter island with limited resources. Imagine what someone like Vegapunk, with the full backing of the world government and unlimited resources, could do. Chopper may have stumbled upon a field of science with terrifying military applications. The very concept of disturbing the wavelengths could be the key to unlocking untold power.
And he's just using it to protect his friends and his father's flag. What a good guy. Bro, what an incredible addition he's going to be. He's going to bring a type of intelligence to the crew that we haven't seen yet. He's a scientist.
Speaking of incredible additions, Oda's author comment this week was interesting. He said he cried watching the anime's version of the Bellmare story from the Arlong Park arc.
Really? That's awesome to hear. It's always cool to get that peek behind the curtain. He said the music, the voice acting, the production, it all got to him. He even called the anime unfair for being able to combine all those elements so effectively to draw out emotion.
It's a moment of humility and respect for his collaborators. He acknowledges that the anime is a different medium that can enhance the story he created in ways he can't on paper. It shows how much he cares about the whole world of One Piece, not just the pages he draws.
Yeah, he respects the craft, just like we respect Chopper's craft. The guy's a master craftsman of his own body. It's absolutely wild. He's like a shipwright for flesh and bone.
The sheer variety of attacks he demonstrated, even in that short fight, was impressive. A leaping dodge, a furry defense, a hyper-muscular attack, and a precision strike based on medical analysis. He showed more versatility in 3 minutes than some fighters show in their entire lives. It makes you wonder what else he has in his arsenal.
For sure. We haven't even seen Horn Point yet. What does that even look like? Giant sharp antlers for goring people? Or maybe something more defensive? The possibilities are endless. If you have a favorite of Chopper's new forms, let us know down in the comments. I gotta go with Arm Point personally. That raw power, that focus, it's just too cool. Alright, let's move into predictions for chapter 150.
I'll start. My first prediction is that Dr. Correa will find out about the Rumble Ball, and she will not be happy. She will see the container, or Chopper will still be feeling the effects, and she will lecture him. She will warn Chopper about a serious yet unknown side effect of using it. Perhaps using it too often or taking more than one at a time has monstrous consequences.
Ooh, I like that. The classic power with a price. It makes sense. Kureha is a responsible doctor, and she'd hate seeing him use such a reckless, experimental drug. Okay, my first one. Luffy is going to be completely oblivious that he let Wapol escape, and Sanji is going to be the one to find out and absolutely lose it on him. I see a classic stupid fight breaking out while Wapol gets even more time to set up some kind of trap in the castle.
My second prediction, Wapol is heading for the weapons cache. Hiriluk's research wasn't just about medicine. We know he used to be a thief and that this castle was his old haunt. I think Wapol knows this and is looking for some old weapon or dangerous chemical concoction that Hiriluk stored away in the castle walls years ago. Something to turn the tables.
That's a good one. A hidden Chekhov's gun from Hiriluk's past. For my second prediction, I think we might check in on Nami. Maybe she's awake, having been treated by Kureha and Chopper. I'd like to see her properly meet Chopper, not as a patient meeting a doctor, but as a potential crewmate. We could see them bond over their shared experience with unconventional doctors and their own difficult pasts. It'll be a moment of calm before the final storm.
And my final prediction, we will finally see Horn Point. Wapol will reemerge, maybe with his other two top men, Chess and Chessmarimo, now separated again. Chopper, still within his 3-minute window, will be cornered and will have to use his final transformation to pin him or one of them down. I imagine it will be something with large, sprawling antlers, perfect for trapping an enemy.
A big finale for the Rumble Ball's debut. I love it. My last prediction is that the citizens of Bighorn, seeing Hiriluk's flag flying unharmed from the top of the mountain, will finally be inspired to march on the castle themselves, led by Dalton. The final battle won't just be the Straw Hats versus Wapol, it'll be the people taking their country back, with Luffy and the crew clearing the way for them. The flag will do exactly what Hiriluk intended, inspire the heart of the nation.